This is something. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is so saddening. I thought I heard the audio too. Oh my gosh. Well, greetings gamers. So very sorry about that. I my mic wasn't connected for this. This is crazy. That's so very saddening. Yeah. Is it loud? Is it good? Is it what? Whatever. Okay. Very sorry about that. Greetings, gamers. So yeah, that's kind of a bit saddening. I kind of want to restart the stream, but the problem is I've already lost units. I've already like messed up the I messed up the previous chapter, so it's kind of one of these things where it's like I can't really restart. So I guess we're just moving on from this point. I don't know. Sorry about that, Scott LeBeau. Leaf with the hard carry, absolutely correct. I did make a bunch of comments about that because in the previous chapter he is the only unit that you have that can possibly deal with your the situation that you're in with the long range. It's a bit of a shame that that just happened. Oh man, I guess this is just newbie stream nonsense, right? So, unfortunately, The stream has not gone all that great so far because I have already lost Nana and Fergus. Nana and Fergus were both losses in this chapter that are very terrible. Nana was a healer who I was going to be using for the rest of my game. Very important character. Fergus is a very important character in like dealing with dealing with characters, so on and so forth. Last chapter went kind of badly because if I would have saved all of the civilians, which is one of the things I was trying to talk about. If I would have been able to save all of the civilians, the issue is that they would have allowed me to go to Chapter 4X. And it's just not something that I can do at this point anymore. I'm already at Chapter 5, that's been skipped. So I missed out on an extremely important character. I also missed out on an extremely important weapon in the Brave Sword, which would have been great for Fergus. However, Fergus died. So, I'm in kind of a weird situation. Because Nana died, Avel is kind of okay to just be free and clear here, but you don't want Avel to kill all of these units, which is kind of likely to happen. I'm actually going to have to move her back one, hoping that this pit fighter goes and attacks her first rather than either of these two, because if she hits either of these two with 2 hits, she will kill them. And you don't want that because they will be replaced by a pit fighter over here. This is basically an arena chapter of some sorts, and you even have like the big bads, Raedric and Veld of the video game in the arena. They're non-combative bad guys, so it's not really that big a deal. I'm trying to basically cover all the points that I covered while this stream was going on. Very unfortunate. Very sorry. I'd like to apologize to any of my future viewers and so on and so forth. I thought I had good audio, but it was not on, which is very saddening. But basically, the last chapter is one of the hardest chapters in the game because the RNG can basically destroy your entire run. And then come to find out this chapter, which is not anywhere near as difficult, still difficult, not anywhere near as difficult, ended up being a part where like I just lost a bunch of units pretty much off rip, which is a bit of a shame to say the least. All right, Karen, go ahead and finish nothing, I guess. I think she can go as far as here. Yes, she can. Alright, this triggers the cutscene with Raedric and Veld. You have to go into the 2 wide tile hallway. And then Avel's daughter comes into the mix. Right here, Merida, with her shadow sword. She's actually possessed at the current moment. And I have to unlock this door as soon as possible in order to make sure that I don't have to deal with so many of the pit fighters, especially the reinforcements, so on and so forth. So hopefully I can. Matcha, you really need to KO here. Thank you. Finally, somebody hit in this darn chapter. Very incredibly good level up. Who knows, maybe I'll have to be forced to use somebody like Matcha. Because I'm kind of, a little bit down some units. I meant to drop that unit. I'm not going to attack here. That is the end of my turn. Alright, so this, if Avel hits both hits, this is bad for me. She did not. Actually, she didn't even double. That's kind of strange. That's pretty good. If she doesn't double at all, this is actually fantastic. She's not going to have much of an issue dealing with the arena fight. So that's perfectly fine. Alright. All of these guys are one-ranged. I actually would prefer to deal with them with Dawson and not Leaf, so I'm going to do just that. Actually, I don't know if they will attack him. They have to have more damage than his defense. Okay, most of them do. Most of them do. So I think that's fine. Keep on moving up. Healing item on any of my units. Matcha has one. Karen also has another. I'm gonna try to keep Lithus out of danger here because I can't really afford to be wasting healing items on basically a non-combative unit. That could come back to bite me, but there's really nothing else I can do. Oh, that's strange. So I'm guessing that she's not really attacking twice, she's just adepting. So right now, it's okay as long as she doesn't KO any of the other units because Marita counts as one of the pit fighters. So I'm not going to get any more reinforcements for as long as this exact situation is held. Dawson is going to hopefully help carry this at this current moment. Alright, another little cutscene here. The bosses are getting ready to flee. They're going to be fleeing once I go ahead and open up this door. I think I can finish you off with Brighton. This is a good move here. Brighton needs to go ahead and finish off you so that I can move forward with Dawson. That way Dawson can deal with some of these enemies here before I open up. I think that's actually perfectly fine. And the rest of my units just need to wait in the wings for a moment while I soften up the enemy lines here so that Leaf can deal with the mages, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to basically back up a little bit. And just deal with them there. Alright, so hopefully Dawson kills the 2 units that are going to be able to attack him. The other one is the Axe Knight. It would be great. I don't think any of the others will attack him. I think the other 2 Lance soldiers there don't have strong enough damage to do anything to him. Alright, so this guy is not going to be KO'd. Little bit of a sad situation, because I do have to back up. Now Dawson, he absolutely needs to be healed. Alright. Let's go ahead and... I think I'll open up the door here. And then this will trigger the cutscene that is going to turn good old Aval to stone. She's actually going to be taken to a non-combative area right here in the arena. She's getting turned to stone, which is a very interesting turn of events for the lady. I could have taken her Iron Blade. Realistically, all that would have done is given me a sellable. I should have done that, but, you know, it's whatever. Marita is gone. The pit fighters no longer show up. They are done. You can actually wait out this chapter long enough to get a Pitfire who's so strong it's not possible for any of your units whatsoever to deal with him. And that's a bit of a crazy turn of events, to say the least. So with these guys here, I think the only way to deal with them is potentially with Dawson. Yes, so... yeah, he doesn't have a healing item. How much damage are you doing? 16. Is he attacking twice? He has 5 speed. You have 2 speed. So no, he cannot possibly attack twice. 16 damage. He's doing 4. Does he have a crit chance? 13 crit. He does have a crit chance. That would be a dead Dawson, actually. That would be a dead Dawson. I don't think I could afford that, realistically. Alright, so what I have to do here is I have to wall off this locale. With Leaf. I'm going to use the Pure Water. Pure Water gives him a +7 magic. This is going to be attack and resistant. So at range, I'm going to be able to do more damage with my beautiful weapon. I really think that the only option I have here... I guess I could go here. Go here, use a vulnerary. That's about the safest I can get right there. Alright, so only one of these monster units can attack Laura. But others can over there. I think I'm gonna have to just use Brighton here to finish off the Axe Knight. Alright, so that's a level for Brighton. 1 strength is, you know, whatever. And that's pretty much the end of my turn. That's all I can do here. Unfortunately, I have to basically hope and pray that a unit like Brighton doesn't die, because he did get hit since he, you know, missed. If this guy were to crit Dawson right here, which he did not, it would not have killed him in this juncture. So that's good. Alright, pretty darn good. Dawson was the boss of the previous chapter, and you only can recruit him if you bring the proper child to the bottom right house in the 3rd chapter. Very, very good thing that I was able to recruit him, because what it does is it just gives you a really good unit in the Monster Escape Arc, which is what this is. Chapter 4 to about Chapter 7, I think it is the Monster Escape Arc. Maybe Chapter 9-ish. I think it's about Chapter 9. Alright. Alright. Hopefully the rest can attack Leaf, and only Leaf. Alright. If I double here, and I do, that is a Gonzo Fire user. The light brand has weapon triangle advantage over animatomes because light and dark both do. It's very interesting that both of them do. Alright, so I have to retreat. Bit of a shame that this is the case, but there's really nothing else I can do. And I will attack you at range. Alright, Leaf. Strength. That's pretty good. Skill is pretty good. And the only thing I can really do here is go right here and wait. This is in such a way that only one unit will be able to attack Dawson, which is exactly what I want. I want as low or as few units as possible attacking Dawson. Pretty much any of my units right now. I'm in a very bad situation. In fact, what I'm going to have to do is I'm probably going to have to skip out on certain things that I would normally do in this chapter. Oh my gosh. Please don't hit. And he hit. Goodbye, Laura. Alright, so that's Laura perished. That's 3 units. If you miss Brighton, wasn't thinking, but they can obviously attack you from, you know, the wall. Or the other side of the wall. These two should be able to strike, just Leaf. And that's one gone. I do believe I'm just automatically doubling all of these units, because I think that since fire weighs a decent amount, and magic, so magical tomes do not get reduced by constitution and their weight, so whatever your tome weight is, that's just straight minus off your speed. Trade. You can take the vulnerary. I'm going to throw a big brave axe at you. Goodbye. Move you out of the way. And vulnerary, heal up. Okay, so now here's the problem. This pit fighter has 9 speed. He has 9 attack speed. Okay, so he's not actually attacking Leaf twice. How much damage is he going to do? 14 minus 6, so he's only doing 8 damage. This is actually perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and just end my turn right there. And he will attack Leaf, which is fine. I'm going to finish him off next turn. And then the mages, I'll be able to finish them off as well. I think they both will attack Leaf. Maybe. Maybe not. Alright. And I am attacking twice on the Thunder Mages, which is good. Yeah, so the Thunder Mages are way stronger than the Fire Mages. Thunder is just a better tome. And he's attacking Dawson, not surprising. Okay. I do believe, yep, I can steal Thunders, so that's funny. He no longer has a weapon. Goodbye, buddy. Do just a little bit of damage with Matcha. This is kind of irrelevant because he's unarmed. He's no longer a threat to the rest of my units. But she couldn't reach anybody else anyway, so it's not like a big deal. I will attack you at range. This should do just 12 damage. You're going to have 6 health left. As long as I can finish him off with another unit, that should be perfectly fine. Great job. Great job, Leaf. Now, let's see. That's not possible. This is perfectly fine, but whether or not I'm going to hit is a whole nother situation. Only a 64% chance to hit here. I have 2 attacks. Okay, good. Dawson destroyed the last pit fighter. This means I no longer have to deal with the pit fighters. This is great. The rest of this chapter should be kind of smooth sailing, depending on what I do. So there is obviously some sub-bosses here, well, at least obviously from my understanding. I always like absconding some of these weapons, like the Jormungandr Physic. I don't know if that's relatively something I want to even bother doing here. And then there's also a Silverbow Sniper here, who is incredibly strong. I have to approach him very carefully. These guys are not a threat unless you're within their attack range outside the wall, which I'm going to do my best to stay away from. And if you open up the door, that's not something I need to do. This guy is the actual boss of the chapter that you fight. He's pretty much the next group I'm going to be facing. He's not really all that scary. Leaf can pretty well handle him and his cronies. They're all bow units, so they're ranged. So I have to deal with them from range. And that's the end of my turn. Light Brand heal on Leaf. He is back up to full health, which is very great. It is something pretty amazing about him. Capture. Okay, I can't take that off of you. Take. Trade. Okay, you can have some items. Release. Karen. Oh, she doubles here. She doubles with the Steel Sword, which is pretty cool. It would be great if she actually hits both hits, and she did. Get him out of the way. Sometimes they just clog up the pathway, even though they're... like, in his situation, he's unarmed, so it's not really that big of a deal. Brighton here. See, this is a very silly kind of situation to deal with. I only have 1 vulnerary left. So I do have to be careful about how I go about using that. I'm also not in these guys' range. So I could capture some of these guys. I actually think I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to capture some of the bow units because they have vulneraries, and that's super necessary right now because I don't have a healer. My healer passed away an untimely early demise. Maybe not put... Alright, I can put Leaf right here. I don't want the magic user to hit anybody other than Leaf, so I just have to be mindful of positioning. and then end my turn. After I steal some of these vulneraries, which I'm probably only going to get like 2 or 3, I will have reliable healing again. Or reasonable healing, at least in this parameter, since I lost Nana. Very unfortunate. Nana, Laura, and Fergus. Fatalities in this chapter. What a shame. Ooh, Leaf might be a fatality here, which would be a game over. Alright, let's see what goes on here. All of these guys have around a 30% chance to hit him, so 1 out of 3. That's not exactly good odds. I put him a little too far forward. That would not have KO'd, but it would have left him with 1 HP. Alright, Leaf. Let's see how you handle the rest of these fights, because I'm pretty sure you still have 2 more units you have to... Well, 3 more units you actually have to face. And, yeah, so I was expecting this. Everyone, I am sorry. That's Leaf's line. Unfortunately, he died. And that's actually the end of this Ironman attempt. So, not at all what I was hoping for, especially with how good my 4th chapter went. I will throw that out there. But it's whatever. It's one of these things where it's like I came into the Iron Man attempt knowing that this was a very serious possibility. Now, I'm not going to restart the Iron Man in this run. In fact, I'm not even going to restart it next week because I do want to venture off into different games. But what I will do, because I don't think the stream has been long enough, is I'm actually going to boot up another game. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right. So this is a bit of a surprise. This is something that I was thinking about doing if I ever lost my Iron Man. And that is that I was going to play Super Ghouls N Ghosts. Super Ghouls N Ghosts is actually one of my favorite of the old school arcadey-like games. Shoot, what do I want it to be? I think... I don't know. Is this right? B-A... This is B. So yeah, I want it like that. We can leave it at 3 players. It doesn't really matter. One of my favorite old school arcade games of all time, Super Ghouls N Ghosts. This is actually one of the first games I ever watched my dad complete, for instance, a long time ago. And he was able to complete the game without taking a single death. He didn't do it damageless necessarily. You can lose your armor in this game, and if you do lose your armor, you do get put down to a state where if you take another hit, you will just die. But he was able to beat it deathless. I've only been able to do that a handful of times in all the years I've been able to play this game. So this is just for fun. Basically, anytime that a stream, and I'm just preambling the other streams with this statement, anytime that a stream would technically end, but I don't want it to end because of time wasn't reached necessarily, and I don't really have a time schedule or a limit. But I'm just going to boot up other games, sort of like this, arcadey-like games kind of deal. Oh, yeah. Knew that was coming. Alright. Now I just need to get to another chest. I guess I'm taking the bow. I actually kind of wanted the torch, but the bow is also a good weapon, so I'll stick with the bow. But yeah, this is a very arcadey, very fun, old school game. It's also extremely difficult, and it was one of my brothers who actually convinced me to start playing it years and years ago on professional mode only. So basically, since then, I only play on the very hardest difficulty. It's actually a little bit of a lie. That it is the hardest difficulty, because how the game works is that you have to play through 2 loops. You play through a loop to basically defeat the game, and then what you find out is you can't actually beat the game because you cannot find the right weapon to beat the final boss through a single loop. So you have to play the game through a second loop. And the second loop always is 1 difficulty higher than whatever difficulty you pick. And this is even in the case in professional mode. There is a hidden difficulty higher than professional mode that is much rougher, and it is the difficulty you play on if you play from professional mode from the start. Now here is the boss, the cockatrice. This should be, yep, dead. Goodbye. Alright, so one thing I will say, and this is just going to be kind of an obvious factor here, is that my commentary is probably at times going to be a little bit less than it would be with some of the other games I'm going to pick notably for my streaming. I am not going to pick like high-octane games for the most part because, you know, obviously that takes your attention. And I want my attention to be able to necessarily go multiple ways if I need to chat with people, so on and so forth, because what's the point of a stream if you don't have any kind of, like, you know, chat or communication with anybody who would be willing to ask questions or anything of the sort. So this kind of a game is very high octane. But I've played it so much that for the most part I can commentate it while I'm playing it. And that's perfectly fine, but there will be times where I might necessarily neglect commentary or even chat. That is not necessarily me saying, hey, look, I don't want to chat or I don't want to commentate. It's just focus time, man. Focus time. This game is rough. It's one of considered definitely one of the hardest games on the Super Nintendo for sure. And I wouldn't say it's like one of the hardest games of all time anymore. That ship has sailed a long time ago. But in its heyday, it was definitely a game that if you were capable of doing, even on normal difficulty, you were considered like the bee's knees at gaming. Because it's not at all easy. The bow here is actually super good, because even though the bow has some very wonky properties to it, with how it works concerning its targeting, it does allow for some kind of like ease, especially in this chapter, because this chapter has a lot of enemies that are hidden and can easily come out from basically nowhere to attack you. And that's pretty difficult. It's a terrible weapon. Absolutely terrible weapon against the boss. It is good in the upgraded form, as you notice that if you have steel armor or less, no armor at all, what happens is your weapons are very normal, whereas after you get bronze armor, which is the green armor, and higher, you get an upgraded weapon. It's a magical weapon, and the crossbow becomes firebolts. And these firebolts are, well, actually the bow becomes a crossbow that shoots out firebolts. And these firebolts are homing. You also shoot out 3 of them. The properties are also pretty different. So with like the original bow, With the original bow, you only shoot out 2. They go off in an arc. I don't want that. That's for darn sure. Would actually be great on this boss, but I just don't. I don't want it. They shoot in an arc, and that arc is completely and totally fixed. There's nothing you can do about that arc, period. They also only do 2 damage per hit. Most enemies in this game have 10 or less health. The bosses obviously have more than that. Most of the bosses have between like 50 and 100 health. But most enemies have only 10 or less. And the benchmark of a good weapon in this game is if it can do 10 damage or more, because then you can one-shot, potentially, enemies. Obviously, the bow can't do that, only doing 2 damage per arrow. If you get up close and you hit somebody with both arrows, you're doing 4 damage, because, you know, you will be able to hit them with both of the arrows. In this case, the crossbow shoots out 3 arrows, and each one does 6 damage. And you can hit an enemy with all 3, which will do 18 damage, and that's pretty exceptional compared to the regular bow, because, you know, obviously you are basically quadrupling the damage you can do with your weapon. Alright, the boss here is a little bit of a toughie. Okay, cool. I didn't even get hit once. Awesome. His patterns with his squids that he shoots out can be very, very difficult to deal with and very demanding. That's actually an extremely hard chapter, and because it's the only auto-scroller in the game, if you mess up at that chapter, most people just quit their runs and restart. Obviously, I'm not doing, like, you know, a deathless run or anything here like that, so it doesn't really matter. As you can see, one of the big weaknesses of the bow is you can't really hit things below you. So I just lost my armor for basically no reason. But it's okay, I can get the armor back, I can recover. I just have to be kind of a bit slow and calculated here with the enemies. Oh my gosh, that was almost a direct hit, buddy. A little slow and calculated, like I said. Keep on dealing with this bear here, and then... Alright. Now, at the 4th chest, with no armor, you get your armor back, and then you can go back and regain your chest in the order you need to. So the 2nd chest with steel armor is always bronze armor, and the 3rd chest is always gold armor. So it's not realistically like I lost anything of very big note. I lost the sun shield, which is the blue shield, and the moon shield is the red. So what these do is the sun shield blocks 3 projectiles. It's why I was standing still in front of the boss in the last chapter, because I could have blocked his squids. The moon shield only blocks 1. They also reduce the time it takes to cast your magic. And obviously, if you have no shield, your casting time will be longer than if you have a shield. And if you have the blue shield, your casting time is the least possible. It's not normally how I jump that, but I got a little bit scared there. Not gonna lie. Another cool thing about the bow is one of the only weapons that at base, as well as at base, as well as upgraded, you can deal with the red Aramare ace, which is what that was. Ah, the dagger. Very insanely good weapon. typically what people consider the best weapon in the game. I'm not going to get it because I don't need it. I do need armor. That's very unfortunate. So the bow at unupgraded does not do enough damage to defeat certain of the enemies of this chapter, or this map. Ah, there we go. I got turned into a pile of bones. And that's okay. You can easily get to the point where you're going through like a death spiral. And this part of the chapter. So the lance is the most basic weapon, and it's also one of the least good weapons, but in this part of the chapter it would actually be, or this part of the level, gosh, I have Fire Emblem stuck on the brain. This part of the level, it would actually be better than the bow. Oh gosh, you got me. And the reason why is because it would allow me to damage the goblins and kill them when they drop on you. Because there's a point in this chapter where, again, where they drop on you. Alright, torch. I'll take the torch. Alright. The bats are hard to deal with. Yep, definitely don't want that weapon. I don't want to even bother going for another armor upgrade here. But also, I don't know, it's kind of right here, isn't it? So you want the torch upgraded because it breaks these statues with one singular hit. The torch is one of the coveted weapons, coveted few, that actually, when upgraded, it goes from 9 damage to 10 damage per hit. Also, the torch has a wonderful property of being able to damage on the ground. So while it's doing that little movement across the floor, it does 2 damage per frame. So while doing this, it does 2 damage per frame. It's actually insanely, incredibly powerful. And it is the best weapon to use in this chapter because of the goblins, as well as the little imps that come out of the pit. Okay. And you're dead, Deathcrawler. Alright, the boss of that stage is done. So the torch is actually one of my favorite weapons. I love the bow, I love the torch, I love the bracelet. The bracelet is the weapon that you need to defeat the final boss with. They are awesome weapons. Most people actually don't like the bow, or the torch, or the bracelet, and the reason why is because the dagger is just that insanely good. But there's properties about all of those weapons that I like just far and away more. Okay. Okay, you're dead. Yeah, this part of the stage is a little bit difficult, to say the least. And I sacrificed my shield to get out of that situation. Not great, but it's definitely better than losing your armor. I think this might possibly be a shield. Yes. Nice. Those spike pits are very deceptive with their hitboxes. And then another thing too is on professional mode, you have to be careful about when you jump across here, because that guy likes to come up. And if he hits you, there's nothing you can do about it. Literally zero. You do not want to go to this part of the stage without armor, like your armor upgrades. This part of the stage is very annoying because there's no chests, so there's no way to replenish things like armor if you lose it. And that's just not something I want to do, is losing my armor. Which I almost did there. You also get invincibility frames whenever you use the magic of the armor. And how you do that is just by holding down the attack button for whatever weapon you have, as long as you have gold armor or higher. And the only weapon that doesn't have a magical attack is the bracelet. And I'm pretty well free and clear, as long as the boss doesn't kill me, because now I'm at the boss. Alright, buddy. The Hydra is, sometimes a very difficult fight, depending on your weapon, and also depending on your armor. Alright, cool. He posed little threat. Cool thing about the upgraded magical power of the torch is that those little spheres that orbit me block projectiles, including bosses' projectiles. There are some things that are immune to this. They're not really coded in the game as projectiles. They're more or less coded in the game as, like, lasers or something of the sort. But most projectiles in the game are just hard blocked by this weapon's abilities, which is really great. Just have to be patient here. Fighting with that guy with the torch on the same level as him is insanely difficult, because if you don't kill him quick, he will kill you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. Dealing with all those flowers. And he is dead. Very good. I have to take this a little bit cautiously, a little bit more cautiously than I would hope, because typically I'm not using the torch at this time. One good thing about the torch too is that you can actually just run straight through this area. You do have to be mindful of these dudes that are flying around. You actually can't kill them from the front because they're wielding shields. But the orbs that rotate you with the torch, they instantly kill the icicles that form out of the ground. And this right here, my friends, is an extremely difficult part of this game. Dealing with the red Aramare Ace with the torch. It is probably the hardest thing about using the torch. Most people opt out of playing with it because of that reason alone. I think this is... No. I need one more. There we go. Sun Shield. Perfect. Come on. And you are gone. Hopefully I can do the glitch successfully. Oh, I cannot, unfortunately. So I could actually show you a glitch in this chapter, or this, good grief, this map, where you are made invincible, and you have to use these avalanches, which is what they are. Almost got me, buddy, but you didn't. And I'm just going to jump over everything right here. And then pretty much safe right there, which is cool. Now this fight is extremely difficult with the torch. It's probably one of the hardest bosses in the game to fight is a torch battle with the ice giant, because the problem is as you can see, I have a serious range deficiency. And he has no problem attacking me. Within a range I cannot possibly reach him. Alright, I gotta take this a little slow here because I lost my armor. Alright. Gotta break out of the ice. Oh, he killed me. That's just ridiculous. Alright. Now what I think I'm gonna do is I think I may just switch weapons. That's perfectly fine. Oh, good grief. Definitely don't want the axe. Terrible weapon. Perfect. Goodbye. So even without armor, I should be able to deal with the boss with this weapon as long as I'm a little bit patient. The avalanche can't take you if you're holding on to icicle ladders, apparently. Alright. Perfect. Ice Giant is done. Yeah, the torch is just really difficult to deal with that fight. Now, it's not difficult at all if I got the glitch off, because you can make yourself invincible for the rest of that stage. Just that stage, and it does include the boss fight, which a lot of people would think is unfair, but I think it's perfectly legitimate because it's a game. What's it matter? Yep, I was figuring he would hit me. There's more air mares to deal with, too, and I'm already out of armor. 2 more air mares to deal with, actually. Oh, come on. Yeah, so basically you have to deal with the air mares without getting hit, which is way easier said than done. I think the only way that I could legitimately do that here is if I got the bow instead. The axe is definitely not what I want to see there. Okay, that's one. You just have to be kind of fast and elusive, but also you have to attack a lot of times depending on your weapon. Okay, that's 2. I should be home free now. Should be. That's the key question, or key statement. Alright. Now I'm going to be able to get the gold armor. Gold armor with the good old daggers is insanely good. The charge is one of the best charges in the entire game, and it easily KOs pretty much all of the bosses, as well as the air mare ace. Goodbye. Enjoy the dragon while you could. And I will grab my sun shield. Perfect. Yep, Astaroth is gone. Goodbye, boss. That's what I'm talking about. Going to the final stage in the first loop right now. There are 8 total stages. It's only 7 that you can play in the first loop. The final stage is Loop 2 exclusive, and you have to have the correct weapon. Yeah, so there's many reasons why the daggers are the best weapon in the game. Even the basic dagger is insanely good, because the basic dagger, what it affords you is 3 rapid-fire weapons that all do 6 damage apiece. They have varying elevation as well, which doesn't seem like it would matter, but there are times where it actually does matter, and it's very useful. And then you have stuff like the dagger upgraded does 7 damage per hit. And then the dragon does 2 damage per frame. So all weapons that hit multiple times do 2 damage per frame, which is the reason why stuff like the dragon is so insanely good. Goodbye, friend. It's basically a cheat code. The dagger is basically a cheat code. If you can beat the game with the dagger, it's not as impressive as being able to beat the game with something like the torch or other, like, notably bad weapons. Like, for instance, the axe. If you're able to beat the game with the axe, which I actually have a video on my channel doing just that, on professional mode, too, by the way. That's some pretty impressive stuff, because the thing is that the axe is so terribly bad that it's basically... Even the developers know that it's a joke weapon. When your own developers know that it's a joke weapon and they didn't mean it to be, like, it's a bad weapon. Alright, I think he will die to one more dragon. Of course, he dodged. Goodbye. Alright, so this is the interlude between the first and second loop. I died a few times, which is to be expected. This game is not easy. There is nobody who's ever going to tell you it's easy, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I actually encourage that people who are more new to video games get into things like more arcadey stuff, so that you could see kind of like the development between old school games versus new games, and how vastly different the thought process is behind it. So a good example is Thracia. I just played Thracia, I just lost the Ironman. We're only 2 streams in, I was only 5 chapters in. That's not really that disappointing, honestly. I've never done an Ironman officially on Thracia. I planned for it, but I've never actually done it. And I knew that Chapter 4 was going to be a huge roadblock. It didn't end up being. Chapter 5 was where I ended up losing because I was getting a little cocky, as well as not being as cautious as I need to be. I'm taking that into note. I'm going to duly note that for Season 2 of that Ironman whenever I get around to it. But in old school gaming, we're talking about 90s gaming, and even before then, games were very anti-handholdy. And that's kind of true of, like, Thracia, and it's really true of this game. So it's just interesting to have, like, the different dichotomies of video gaming. I don't mind gaming as it is today at all. I love a lot of video games. I play a lot of video games from this current era. You know, it's not like I just don't. Alright, time to get my favorite weapon in the game. The bracelet. So this weapon does not have a magical attack that you can charge up. You'll notice that there are no bars next to the top of my character screen where the weapons are. What gold armor gives to this weapon is just longer range, because it does have limited range depending on your armor status. And it also allows you to eat projectiles. So the weapon itself will eat projectiles, which is really insanely good, because projectile spam is a real problem in this game. I cannot believe I just walked into that. I cannot believe I just walked into that. It's whatever. It's okay. Game over. Big deal. You have infinite recovers in this game, because this game is an arcade game. And you don't need to put in the tokens. But yeah, so the cool thing about the bracelet, it's the reason why I love it, is not just because it eats projectiles, but because of its damage. So the base damage of the bracelet is 18. It actually, there's a small smidgen of it where it does 12. There's a small smidgen of it where it does 6, and then there's the very end of its travel, it does 3 damage, which sounds terrible. And, you know, obviously you don't want something that's as slow as this weapon to do just 3 damage. But it's the potential of constantly doing 18. And all you have to do is be closer to your opponent. That's not something you necessarily want to do in a game like this, but luckily, the gold armor increases the range of the projectile and makes it so that basically out to almost the limit of the projectile's absolute range, you're doing 18 damage. In fact, with the gold armor, you can't do 12 or 6 damage. You can only do 18 damage. That's it. I've never beaten this game damageless, but I have beaten this game deathless. I'm pretty sure if you ever spot with your little eye somebody who has beaten this game or claimed to beat this game damageless, it is probably either TAS or heavily cheated with like rewinds and save states, because I don't think it's physically possible. It could be possible. I'm not saying it, you know, there's not people out there who are just flatly better than I am, but on professional mode, that's a tough pill for me to swallow, that you're capable of beating this game without taking a single hit of damage. Alright. No bronze armor there, that's not really a big deal. Hello, cockatrice. You're dead. And I got the key, which gives you your steel armor back. So it's not really that big a deal if you lose armor, especially if you know how to get armor easily in each and every stage. Pretty much every stage, except for stage 5, is easy to get armor in. Stage 5 isn't, and that's because of how it pushes you forward and how many enemies are, like, overbearing. But this stage is pretty easy to get armor in, but it's pretty much impossible to get armor if you lose it and aren't privy to what's going on. See, that's not great. But it's whatever. Okay, so yeah. Gonna hit that. Jump over you, of course. Jump over you. I don't even bother killing these mimics because it is possible to kill them while they're in the chest. It's just not all that useful. What you saw there was a glitch due to the USA version of this game. So you can play the European version if you do want a more or a less laggy, less buggy or glitchy version, but it's also far and away less difficult. The USA version is far more difficult than the European version, which is very interesting, to say the least. You kind of wouldn't expect that necessarily, but it is definitely the case. Nice. I don't want that. I probably would have traded out this weapon for something a little bit more conducive to beating the boss, especially because I don't have gold armor. And gold armor is pretty much how you want to use this weapon for fighting the boss, due to the fact that it's, got the ability to delete his projectiles. And that's very important, because his projectiles happen to be, like, the only thing about him that's all that scary. Of course, he can hit you with his, just flatly his body. But, that's just whatever. Alright, I'll take those points for no reason. Points do eventually accumulate to give you lives. It's not really that important. If you were going to do like a game overless run, I guess then it would be that important. Oh, good grief. Little bit too soon on that one, Gamer Man. Little bit too soon, but that's okay. This gives me a chance to get my gold armor back. But yeah, there is a lot of reasons why I love the bracelet. I think the bracelet's just cool. It's literally a magical bracelet that you have and that you're casting basically an attack, which is just an interesting concept. Definitely do not want the axe. I alluded to the fact that it is one of the worst weapons in the game, and that is absolutely no lie. Alright. Yep, so this is pretty chill in the sense that I don't really have to... Oh, come on! Losing my armor again. Yeah, it's chill in the sense that this is just an auto-scroller. You cannot make this stage go by any faster, no matter how hard you try. Which is a shame, because there's a lot to be said about 90s games making auto-scrollers, and then they're just like the worst parts of most games and level design, because you can't force them, you can't push them forward. If you're playing something like a speed run or anything of the sort, it's basically you're stuck. Is what you have to do. You have to just acknowledge that you're stuck with the auto-scroller. It's why dying is extremely punishing on an auto-scroller. I really hope I don't die again. It's very possible, though, because the boss's patterns are going to be much greater in Professional Plus mode. That's what I like to call it. I'll grab the 500 points, why not? Also, this boss is the only boss in the game in which you do not get more time to beat the boss. You get there with however much time you have on the clock, and then that's all the time that you get to fight him. I think his name is sincerest, or something like that. He is particularly a hard stop for a lot of players, because, again, he's very difficult to defeat if you do not know what you're doing. He's also very annoying and spammy with his squid attack, which is his only relevant attack. That's some good hits. Yep, already getting hit. I actually think he's about to die, too. Gotta keep my distance. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Storm Cesaris is gone. That is a nasty stage. At range, this weapon does show its flaws, but I think it more than makes up for it. I think it's very cool. Lends itself to being a very fun and interesting weapon, especially in a game like this, because none of the other weapons are actually like it. Alright, now I just have to get my final chest, and I'm pretty good. This weapon is only slightly better to deal with the red Aramare aces than the torch. And the only reason why it's better is because it does more damage. I'm pretty sure that the red Aramare ace has around 20... It's either 18 or 21 health. So you want as few hits as possible to take him out. That is how I typically deal with that part of the stage. I like jumping through those parts rather than spending a little bit more time. Okay. Go ahead and land. Come on. You're dead. And of course, like I said, these statues only have 10 health. So as long as you get to the point where you're doing 18 damage to it, you're going to instantly destroy it, which is exactly what you want. You just want weapons that instantly destroy these obstacles, because the longer you're on this stage, the more oppressive it becomes with the bat spawns, and I cannot believe I just missed my jump. Oh, buddy, that's so saddening. I cannot believe I just missed that jump. Paying too much attention to talking, I guess. It's luckily, lucky for me, I should say, that I don't really need armor. I'm still going to try to get it if I can, but you don't really need armor with this weapon against this boss. And you don't need armor against the goblins either, because the 18 damage is automatic. It's just limited to the range you're capable of using it at. That was a close one. Yeah, gold armor here is just good as a bit of a safety. It doesn't help against the boss pretty much at all. The shields don't help against the boss. The boss does have projectiles. You're never going to come across a situation where you need the shield to block a projectile unless you just don't know what the boss does. And that's pretty much it. So if I was playing this game normally and a little bit more recklessly, I would actually be jumping the whole time I'm walking rather than just walking, because you do actually move faster. It is a bit of a speedrunner's trick. And then also, when you're jumping, when you're mid-air, you throw certain weapons a little bit higher than your body. But luckily, the hitbox of the bracelet is such that it's going to hit them anyway, even if you don't jump. So I don't have to worry about that little scenario either. Okay, cool. A one cycle. Kind of difficult to do because sometimes he just forces a miss. His hitboxes are kind of wonky. But a one cycle is pretty darn good there on that boss. Would still like my sun shield for sure. These guys become way more spammed in this chapter or this stage, on loop 2. Way more spammed. The blue axe ghost dudes are insane. I don't have to be so careful here, or so cautious, because I can literally eat the projectiles of every one of these fire towers here. And as you saw, I was basically able to bull rush this area, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely adore the bracelet. I think it's truly an underrated weapon in this game. Because most people will just say, like, if you're tier listing weapons in this game, you're basically just saying that there is one and only one viable weapon, which is the dagger. And I truly, for the life of me, cannot agree with that. There is a little bit of armor here, like I said. The gold armor is not necessary. It's very useful, it's very nice, it's very good. You would prefer to have it in every instance you possibly could, but it is not something that is required. Okay. This part of the stage is very, very very difficult. You have to get your timings pretty much perfect. Almost got hit by that gas jet. So this stage is called Ghoul's Stomach, which tells you exactly where we are. We are actually inside of a monster's belly, which is pretty interesting, to say the least. Goodbye. Time to fight the Hydra. On Loop 2, Professional Plus. Aww. Perfect. Hydra was one cycle. Nice. So now it's on to Stage 5. Stage 5 is pretty easy as long as I have gold armor for the boss fight, because then I will have the range. So the problem is that if you just have steel armor, you don't necessarily have range to deal with the guy with this weapon. So I gotta hope and pray I keep gold armor today. Alright, bronze armor is here. I did awake Death Flower. And, yep, lost my armor. And died, actually. Crazy how bad that just spiraled, but it happens. It absolutely just happens. This game is not for the faint of heart, that's to be sure. These guys are a bit annoying at times. Yeah, the magic armor, what it does is it gives you a little bit increased range as well. It's not as great as the gold armor, and obviously it still has some drawbacks, like for instance, you don't have the projectile protection. I'm being a little bit extra cautious here, because I don't just want to fight these guys for infinity. But that is a-okay. And then this part of the stage is always annoying if you don't have the torch with gold armor, because you have to manually attack and destroy all of these while also avoiding the dudes that are flying around. There is a chest here as well, but it's very hard to trigger. Sometimes I forget exactly where the trigger point is. I don't think I'll ever be able to get it. Just have to be careful about where the flying lance dudes are. Come on. Alright. Red Airmare Ace down for the count. Now, after you pass that point, getting armor is pretty easy. Keeping it might be a whole different story, though. Like I said, keeping it might be a whole different story. Off the cliff I went. Remember to jump, gamer man. Alright, from the rest of this stage you cannot get another chest, so it is impossible at this point to get the sun shield. Not necessary though. And that is due to the fact that the Sun Shield doesn't really do anything for this. I don't even think it increases range. I think range is max once you get gold armor. The shield is just an extra defensive measure for your needs. Yep, I can eat your projectile, buddy. And the ice giant is dead. Now it is time to move on to the 6th stage. Gonna get to fight Astaroth with this weapon. I have to first deal with 3 red Airmare Aces on this stage. why a lot of people often call this the hardest stage, at least in the English version, because the European version, which I guess could still be considered English version, just, you know, Europe, is only has one Aramir Ace here. All right, cool. That's both of the first Aramir Aces off my back. Don't need that chest, so now I can skip a staircase. Always cool to be able to do that. Don't need that chest either, but I do need the fourth chest. That's what gives me my Sun Shield. That was a close call. There is a certain part of the stage where enemies will stop appearing. If you go to this part of the stage right here, or beyond, like up here for instance, the red Aramir Ace will just disappear. Of course. And Astaroth is gone. So he's much more difficult to defeat without the gold armor because you don't have the range. And then at the end of your range, you're only doing 3 damage. You don't want to do just 3 damage because obviously, like, you're going to take longer to beat the dude. So, a bit unfortunate, but hey, I beat him, and that's all that matters. He is gone. Good job, good job. Get him out of the way. Little trick there, you can actually just jump right past that guy. Unfortunately, you can't jump past this guy. I have tried on many occasions. Good try, Red Aramir Ace. That's the last one you have to fight in this stage. Sun Shield here. And as long as I don't get hit by anything, I should be free and clear. You know, that's still a very big possibility. Next part of the stage is very annoying because any part of the stage that has the ghosts that appear out of any nowhere, basically, those are infinite. I missed the jump twice now. You can actually ledge skip there. Much easier to deal with Astaroth on this stage than it is on the previous stage. Ah. And that's a death. That is saddening. Second game over. I can continue. I'm pretty sure I'll be on that stage. Yep. Now I just have to try to keep gold armor. Gold armor really helps with the Astaroth-Nebiroth fight. It's actually less helpful for Nebiroth than Astaroth, because Nebiroth's blasts are all predetermined, whereas Astaroth's, he changes the direction of his flame based on the direction you are facing with him. So it's a little bit harder to deal with. Alright. Bronze armor again. Perfect. Yeah, you can just go ahead and kill me because that was a wasted attempt. Alright, now it's time to move upward. You can bait these guys to move by just jumping. This one you just want to fight here with the bracelet. Finally! Sometimes that doesn't want to trigger. Alright. Back on track. Hopefully, I can keep it that way. Jump through these breaking walls. Begin my ascent to the Astaroth-Nebiroth fight. Perfect, I actually got the ledge skip there. Nice. Not really going to matter all that much, but, you know. Struck down again. It's unfortunate too because so You can't even change your weapon here, even if you wanted to. Let's say you're not so good with the bracelet, or it's not hacking it. Like, I keep making these little silly mistakes. But the reason why is because if you do not beat Nebiroth with the bracelet, you will be transported back to the beginning of Stage 5. Oh no, Stage 6. Which means that you potentially have to go through Stage 6, get your armor back, and then you have to get the bracelet back. You absolutely cannot just rest on your laurels with a different weapon on Loop 2. You must use the bracelet for Loop 2. The final fight is actually extremely easy. Astaroth and Nebiroth are difficult. They're pretty much always difficult in all these games because there's many different entries of the good old Ghosts and Goblins or Super Ghouls and Ghosts series. Alright, so finishing this guy off right here. Very nice, very nice. And then taking that chest. Grabbing gold armor for the upteenth millionth time when I missed. That's okay. The death there was kind of like intentional because the problem is like I said, I need gold armor for this fight, and I keep losing it for stupid reasons, which is, you know, some people could be saying like tilting. It's just I'm making mistakes. That's all that's going on right now. Making mistakes because, for one, live. For two, I'm not a perfect player. So, there is that. Come on, imp. Yo, welcome to the stream. I don't have another thumbnail for what I'm doing at this current moment, but because I lost my Ironman stream, I moved on to Super Ghouls N Ghosts, and I'm actually pretty darn close to beating it on professional mode. This is Loop 2. I have the bracelet, and I'm on the second to last stage. The last stage just encompasses a boss fight. I have basically all but beaten this game, but I keep messing up on the air mare and other things of that sort. There we go. Sun Shield, I'm fully kitted out. Let's hope I can stay that way. As you can see, the usefulness of the bracelet being able to eat projectiles is pretty insane. Those two, in the first couple of runs that I've done of this specific stage, didn't attack me like that, but when they did, it was kind of a bit of a tricky situation. I actually think that I'll maybe give this another go, another try, if I don't beat Astaroth and Nebiroth here, but if I lose that final try, I think I'm just going to be done for the night. because this is just taking too long. And these dudes are not cooperating. Alright. Final continue. Alright, you're gone. Up the treacherous ladder I go, getting back gold armor again. And now it is time to fight the red Aramare Ace. You're dead. Goodbye, friend. You were never a friend to me. Alright. Sun Shield in hand. This is a fresh continue. Fresh minds. Walls are broken. Very nice. Time to go through. Time to fight the final part of the stage. Hopefully I don't botch this attempt by just hitting a chest. That was incredibly bad. And I got the ledge skip. Very nice. That was very annoying. Deflating, I would even throw out. Alright, like I said, this is going to be my last continue, so whatever happens, happens. You're gone. Jumping on up with good old Arthur. You're gone. I actually cannot recall the last time I had this much difficult with Astaroth and Neburoth. Specifically Astaroth, of course, because, you know, he's the one I continue losing to right now. I do note that it is probably just me being a bit too hasty. But also, like, it's getting kind of ridiculous at this point. No ledge skip. This is where things can become pretty darn dangerous. Almost did right there. That would have been super aggravating. Mm. Why'd I jump up there? Alright, last life. Last life, and I'm calling it quits. And there you have it. I would love to continue this stream, but it is getting late for me, as I live in the opposite time zone, so it's already past good old 1 in the morning. Very unfortunate, like I said, it is very unfortunate that I lost my Ironman. Of course, there will be more seasons later on down the road. Also, very unfortunate that the beginning of the stream had no audio. I do apologize for that. I especially apologize to Scott LeBeau in my chat, because you did say something and I wasn't able to respond to you immediately because I was responding to you, but it just didn't come through because the mic audio wasn't coming through. Something I should have checked, but I also didn't think would be an issue because my mic's been plugged in all day. Isn't that crazy? Either way, Super Ghouls N Ghosts was a fun little, jump into it. Of course, I did not win, and I was very close to, but at this point, I could keep on trying, and I could probably do it very quickly because I've done it many, many, many times before. You literally just saw me do it in Loop 1. But the game, it's aggravating to continue losing when you're so close to winning. So, there is that. Unfortunately, because I did lose the Ironman stream, I'm not going to be continuing Ironman of Thracia, at least at this current time. My next week's stream will be a bit of a surprise. You're going to have to stay tuned for that. It's going to be next Friday, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please do join. I appreciate all of the folks that do end up watching and do end up chatting and anything of the sort. Hopefully next time I will have all the audio sorted out so that I will be able to promptly respond to anybody's questions, statements, comments, so on and so forth. Criticisms, doesn't really matter. I welcome all forms of discussion and commentary on my channel. So again, I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you all next stream. It's been real. Have a great one, guys.